Hello and welcome to Xbox Classics. In this installment, the game is Taito Legends, released for the Xbox in 2005. Taito Legends was also released for the PlayStation 2 of the same year. This is a game that is one of the few games I can say that I'm very proud to say that I bought this game at GameStop. And the reason for that is because while GameStop is usually a terrible place to shop for multiple reasons, Taito Legends here I got at GameStop for 47 cents. So yeah, this makes it sort of the one in a million time when you walk into GameStop and you're actually satisfied when you walk out. So Taito Legends, I guess they were having some sort of, I don't know, overstock or something, and they had to, this was several years ago, so you probably won't be able to get it now. But yeah, for 47 cents, this is not too shabby. This is a collection of classic arcade games by Taito, some of which you'll remember, such as Bubble Bobble here. Other ones you probably won't ever recall, ever. So there's a whole bunch here. So let's go over all of them, and let's talk about the games. Whoops! Stop! So let's talk about games that are actually good. Battle Shark here is a good game. Bubble Bobble is an amazing game. Colony 7, not too much. Yup, okay. 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 Yeah, it's good. Yeah. Nah. It's good. 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 Meh. 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 Excellent. So, yeah, it's a bit of a mixed bag, but let's go over each of the games here. Let's go over Battle Shark first. So, yeah. The emulation here is really quite good, as the Xbox, can easily emulate, all our arcade games. So let's throw in some coins. And here we go. Originally, this game was controlled with like a periscope, and here you control the periscope with like the D-pad, or the right or the left stick. Alright, so let's see. Oh, be careful. We got damage there. Turn up the volume a little bit.
To those on board, destroy the enemy base on the bottom of the sea. Objective, mobile base Gambado.
Gotta love voice acting in games from the 80s. Pretty much only, like, CD games, were very expensive at the time, and arcade games had them. Console games basically didn't have voice acting. Or if they did, they were like, one-liners, like, ooh, or something, or like a simple little, like, yeah, you did it. Something very simple, not something lengthy at all.
A large unidentified enemy ship is rapidly approaching.
Alright. Alright.
Mission accomplished. We're moving on to our next position.
So if you want, you can, do things, in addition to just playing the game, you can go and look at these original sales flyers, which is kind of neat that you can do this. See how the game was advertised to arcade vendors in Japan. So let's go to Bubble Bobble. Of course, Bubble Bobble, a game that is very fondly remembered as, one of the greatest Taito games of all time. Ported around, the NES, the Master System, the Genesis, you name it. So let's play some of this. Insert coin. Of course, Bubble Bubble is a very simple game where you play as a little dinosaur dude and you pop enemies into bubbles and then pop them and you get fruit for it. It's a weird game, but it's one of the most addictive arcade games ever. The music is just classic as well. Alright, you can also adjust the size of the screen if you want and make it a bit bigger. Alright, let's quit and let's move on. Oh, also, there's like game descriptions that, tell you about the game, what the controls are, you can change like the dip switch settings of the game. So let's move on to something that's, I don't know, a little bit good. New Zealand Story. Released for the NES as, what was it? Kiwi Quest? Or Kiwi Craze. Yeah, that's what it was for the NES. North American version of this game. Insert coin. It's a very cute game. Girls and women tend to love this game. It definitely has that, classic Taito appeal. And it's just overall a good game. A weird game for sure, though. Alright. Let's move on. Operation Wolf was a classic light gun game. It was ported to the NES, most famously, the NES version of Operation Wolf being a zapper game. The thing is, though, Operation Wolf is not all that good. It's an on-rails, light gun shooter, yet here you're playing without a light gun.
Operation Wolf.
And it's about as fun as it sounds.
Operation initiated.
You might as well be playing this game on a PC with a mouse. It's just that kind of much non-fun that you'll have. Alright, that's enough of that. Plotting, otherwise known as, what was this? Plotting was released for the Famicom under the title Flipple, a cube puzzle game or something like that. So what you want to do is you're going to drop the blocks down, where they're going to hit other blocks of the same type. Your goal is, of course, to, clear out all of the blocks. It's nowhere near as classic as a game like Tetris or anything, but, I don't know, it's not bad. Alright, enough of that. Rainbow Islands is the sequel to Bubble Bobble. According to the title there, it's the story of Bubble Bobble 2. Although Rainbow Islands is about, as much to do with Bubble Bobble as, I don't know, Mario 1 has to do with Mario 2, as in Mario USA. It's kind of the same characters, but the gameplay is different. Here you jump around and you create happy rainbows that you can walk on. It's very different from the classic Bubble Bobble. It's still a good game, though. It's just that I don't know. Taito came up with this out of left field. This is very different from your classic games. Alright, enough of that. Move on. Rastan. Rastan. It's famously ported to the Sega Master System. And the Master System version is very, very good for the Master System. This is a strange game in that it's an arcade game that's a platformer. Not a beat-em-up or, a puzzle game or anything you typically expect from, the arcade. This is a game that was essentially a console-type game. As such, it was actually ported around to consoles, and its sequels all came to consoles. Alright, enough of that. Original Sales Fire. Going by its original Japanese name, Rastan Saga. Space Invaders. Now, if you don't know this game, well, you don't know anything about gaming. You know, I like Space Invaders, but the original version of Space Invaders is, I don't know, it's just an exercise in tedium. Although this isn't actually the original version of Space Invaders. This is a version that came out later with like a cellophane background. As the original game was just black and white. It didn't even have color. You can see how the bottom row is actually colored green and the enemies are white. The original game was just black and white entirely. There was no green at all. It's rather interesting to note that, you know, the game was designed originally with hardware that actually caused the game to have slowdown more enemies that were on screen. So actually, the music cues that speed up as you defeat enemies is actually just the game coming to terms with what it should be running, as opposed to being overclocked or being underclocked and being, you know, having all this slowdown when you have all the enemies on screen. So it's a sort of, you know, happy coincidence of that makes the game, you know, more tense, and also speeds up the music as you defeat enemies. All right, enough of that. So that was Space Invaders. The original Space Invaders. They're showing off a cocktail cabinet there, which was an arcade machine that you would sit at with a chair, and you'd put down a drink onto the table, and it had like a screen embedded into the table, and it was like an idea that you could like sit down and have like a drink or have a cocktail, you know, and play a video game. Space Invaders Part 2. Let's try this. Now this is using a color monitor, of course. Or it could just be that it's using cellophane, you know, to give color over the monitor. Sort of like what the Vectrex did. But yeah, it's not all that exciting. Space Invaders. Return of the Invaders. just goes to show that everything that Taito did wasn't necessarily a masterpiece, although they did come up with a lot of good games. Alright. Last game that's really worth checking out is Zookeeper. Zookeeper is one of my favorite arcade games. Yep, everyone's game for Zookeeper. It's very true. It's a very simplistic game, and it's a whole lot of fun. Super simple. It's a game I love. Your object of the game is to trap these animals into basically this cage, and as the enemies thrash about, they'll destroy the brick walls. And you reinforce the brick walls by basically running along against them. You get bonus points the more enemies you capture inside the cage. Starts out simple, gets more difficult. I love this game. Get the net, trap the animals back into the thing, get a bonus point. Score. It works very well with the D-pad, but, you know, originally this game didn't have a D-pad. It was just the analog, or just the joystick. And, you know, with the joystick, too, this game is just fantastic. Man, I love Zookeeper. Oh no! Man, Zookeeper. Simple, fun, awesome. One of my favorite arcade games. I died. Ah, dang it. Alright. Enough of that. So yeah, this is Space Invaders, you know, Bubble Bobble, Rastan, you know, a whole bunch of good games and a few games that you probably will have never played or never heard of. But considering I got this game for 47 cents, I can't really complain. You can go to Taito history here, Taito milestones, you know, just look at some things about Taito that makes you realize that they were really part of the arcade industry and they came up with some absolutely fantastic games. And I really miss the arcade era because, you know, they came with games like this. Taito sadly isn't around anymore, at least not the Taito that we classically remember. So, with all these different cabinets and different machines and games that they came up with, you know, it was really just a magical time. And this collection just helps you remember them. So, anyway, thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to leave in the comment section down below. And once again, I'll see you guys next time.